The whole process is really cool, you know, someone comes in with an idea and then it's our job to put that on paper, you know, and then they wear it permanently, you know, and they're... How's it going? My name is Jacob Doney. I work at Envision Tattoo in Grand Terrace, California. So right now I'm doing a traditional anchor's piece. This is called the Sailor's Grave. It has a little sinking ship in the water, some birds, and kind of some leaves to frame it out. He's sitting really well, so that definitely helps. I've been tattooing now for about almost 10 years. Next March will be 10 years. I got into it, I was always into drawing comics and stuff like that as I was younger. I would go to school and my folders were just filled with drawing paper. So every class was just, man, I'm just gonna sit there and draw. And then as I got older, I started looking at tattoo magazines, and I think just the challenge is what really made me want to do it. I ended up in high school, one of my art teachers told me about a shop that was hiring in Colton, so I went over there, applied for the job, and luckily I got it, and then the rest was history, man. So I come from a small town called Yucaipa, real small town. There's not much to do there. School is one thing that I always had a hard time taking serious, so that was I think my one trouble growing up, was just getting into school. But I was always into sports. When I was younger, I played baseball for a long time. I got into hockey. I really enjoyed being active. You know, got dirty. You know, I used to ride BMX bikes, and in Yucaipa there was a lot of places where you build like dirt jumps and stuff. So right after school, you know, you jump on your bike, go ride some jumps, or you get some wax and wax up a curb, and you'd be skating all day. That's pretty much all there was to do, man, which was cool, man. I really liked it a lot. But as far as like home life was great, man. I had a hardworking mom. I'm not as close with my dad, but he actually got me into church and stuff like that, which I still go, so I thank him for that, and him and I are still close. But to be honest, man, I think a lot of my work ethic came from my mom. She always, you know, she struggled raising all of us, so she always kind of ingrained that in my head, like, you know, work hard and do everything you can to provide for your family and stuff. And I think I really value that today, you know, because I try to be a hard worker and do everything I can now that I have a family, you know. The first guy that I apprenticed under, his name was Johnny, and I remember I walked into this tattoo shop and they were just blasting heavy metal, and I thought that was cool. Like, we were pretty much shouting at each other. And I just said, hey man, I'm in high school, trying to get a job. Are you guys hiring? And he was like, yeah, bring in some drawings, and I had some with me. I think he was kind of surprised because, you know, I had this folder full of drawings ready to go. And he was like, wow, man, he's like, it looks like you kind of understand, you know, for the most part, how to lay out a good design. He's like, I'll just have to teach you the tattooing side. So I worked there for about, I'd say 6 months. He kind of wasn't showing up to work, and, you know, it seemed like a lot of stuff was going on, you know, at his house. I wouldn't say anything bad about him, just seemed like it was a bad time for him to take on an apprentice. So I ended up hearing about a shop called Paragon in Moreno Valley, and a guy named Julius Vargas mentored me, pretty much made me get rid of all of my bad habits. But the reason I listened to him is because he was just doing nothing but great tattoos. So I think once I saw the quality of his work, I knew, man, this is the shop I need to be in, because people were coming back. He had a steady clientele. So basically from that point forward, any little stuff that I knew, he basically told me, no, that's not right. Helped me shake all my bad habits, and really just helped me progress and take tattooing a lot more serious, and just showed me a lot. Pretty much all the fundamentals I know, I owe to that guy. You know, you pick up little things as you go. A lot of things in tattooing is trial and error, you know, because some things are different for each artist. You know, someone might tell you to do something a certain way, and then, you know, you try, you're like, that doesn't really work for me. So, but I definitely say I owe a lot of it to Julius for just teaching me how to do a good, solid tattoo. And You know, he showed me a lot of traditional fundamentals, you know, a lot of black, clean line work, solid color. So definitely he was huge influence along with any other tattooers that I kind of worked with in the process. I think at a young age it was mostly comics and Disney, man. I was really into Disney growing up. That was actually my first plan before tattooing or that. I wanted to, you know, get good grades in school and then hopefully go to a college and then, you know, eventually be an animator for Disney. And then I think as I got older, I kind of realized that I didn't want a corporate job, and I don't know if that's how Disney runs, but I liked the idea of the freedom that tattooing gives you. The whole process is really cool, you know. Someone comes in with an idea and then it's our job to put that on paper, you know, and then they wear it permanently, you know. They're basically a walking canvas, and I think that never gets old, you know. People ask me that question all the time. Oh man, do you ever get tired? Your back hurt? It's like, man, like compared to other jobs I've had before tattooing, this is great, man. I love it. And so I think as I got older, I just kind of started drifting away from animation and really got into tattoo art, man, because there's just so many things you can do with tattooing, and I think just the challenge is what kind of kept me going, you know. I like dealing with people, surprisingly. A lot of people probably wouldn't admit that, but I like getting to meet people every day and hearing everyone's story, and I don't know, it just kind of makes the day go by easier, you know. And I think for a lot of people that get tattooed, getting a tattoo is kind of like therapy, you know. It's like you have a long week or something. It's kind of a chance just to sit down, you know, whether you're a guy or a gal, and just, you know, talk about how your week's been going, relationship stuff, whatever. So I think the social aspect is also great aside from the art, you know. As far as my tattoo shop, it's going great. It's myself and 2 other artists. We have a small shop in Grand Terrace, and all of us there do traditional tattooing, which is kind of interesting because I think there's not a lot of, I would say, traditional style tattooing shop. There's a lot of them on the East Coast or, like, you know, in Europe or different areas. And I think for us, what we're trying to do right now is just really cater to doing nice, clean, traditional tattoos that are going to stand the test of time. What's cool is we're all super hard on each other, like in a good way, and I think a lot of our customers realize that. You know, if I'm doing a tattoo and I'm like stuck on a spot, I'll be like, hey man, you want to come over here and check this out? I think it shows in our tattoos, man. A lot of people comment on that. They're like, man, I trip out on how honest you guys are with each other. And it's like, you know, we're not here to impress everyone. We just want everyone to get the best tattoo possible. So as of right now, short-term goal, I think we're going to stay where we're at. Maybe within a year, I'd like to open up a bigger location, maybe downtown Riverside or somewhere where there's a lot of foot traffic, you know, so we can cater to walk-ins and stuff like that. Because right now, a lot of people feel like they can't get tattooed by us because we're appointment only. But I mean, realistically, it just comes down to the fact that we're short-staffed. You know, there's only 3 of us, so we can only do so much with just us 3. So I did my first shirt, man, I couldn't tell you the year. It was probably like 2008, 2009. I was really excited because the idea of doing a shirt for Sullen was kind of a big deal because you had big names doing t-shirts. I was like, man, this guy Ryan Smith, you know, he thinks my art's good enough to be on a shirt with all these other guys. I got to draw something really nice, you know? So I remember being at home. I want to say my wife was either pregnant or my son was already born. So I'd stay up late, just work on t-shirt designs, and I'd shoot Ryan an email, and I would just be like stressed out, like, man, I hope he likes this thing, you know, because it was a huge deal. It was like, that was the first time in my life where my artwork was going to be exposed on an international level, you know. So for me, that was huge, you know. And because I'd always had a passion for illustration and apparel, it kind of, you know, it was just icing on the cake. So once Ryan approved my first shirt, I think just the whole process was great. It's just like a tattoo, you know. It's like there was an idea in place, you know, and then watching it go onto a shirt. And then I remember there was a time that my wife and I were in a mall by my house, and I looked in the window and like the mannequin was wearing my shirt, and that was surreal. For me, that was like, you know, to a lot of people that's probably not a big deal that are used to that, but for me, you know, I was like, man, like I did it, you know, like, because I remember sometimes I'd work on designs till like, you know, 1, 2 in the morning and be dead tired, but I just knew that it was going to pay off, you know, by being on a Sullen t-shirt. So I think that was kind of the moment when I saw it at the mall. I was like, man, this is rad, you know? And then there was, you know, some times on Instagram where someone would be wearing my shirt that I did for Sullen and they'd tag me in it or something. Man, that's crazy. Like, just like a tattoo, my artwork's out there walking around and people dig it. So I think that was cool. And since then, I've done about 4 other designs. And the cool thing is, you know, Ryan's very particular on what he likes, and sometimes it's hard to receive criticism on your artwork, but I think that's why Sullen is where it is because, you know, it has a clear vision that's ran here, and I think that's why the product is so well received by so many people, is because so many great artists are making art, and I knew that it wasn't just like, hey, like this guy's nice, we'll let him do a shirt. It was just like, you know, hey, if you can do a nice design, like we'll put it on a t-shirt for you. And I thought that was cool, you know, and I really respected Ryan for that, for being honest and straightforward with all my design submissions. It just helped me grow as an artist, and I think just made me want to do better t-shirt designs. And I think in the process, I learned a lot about, you know, what to do and what not to do, things that work for a t-shirt, and basically draw designs that are going to be more appealing to people in the tattoo industry, or just people that like buying cool shirts, you know. Growing up, you know, I was really into punk rock, and then my brothers also got me into heavy metal. I think around, you know, junior high time, I was really into Blink-182. That was like a huge band that I grew up to. So a buddy of mine, we had started a band in junior high, and I mean, it was just a fun thing. After school, we'd hang out, you know, we'd learn new guitar riffs, you know, this and that. Over time, it got real serious. You know, we started playing shows. You know, we got to open up for some big bands that we really liked. I did the band thing for about 6 years, and that's actually how I got introduced to Sullen. We got a sponsorship through Sullen. I always didn't really talk about tattooing too much because I'd never liked to bring, you know, that attention to myself. I just like to, like, you know, play music and have fun. But the band wrapped up about 6 years in. We kind of had hit our peak, I would say, you know, and there was a lot of problems going on within the band. It's the hardest thing about playing music is you have, you know, multiple people with a vision, and making that all work, man, it's difficult. As to where, you know, if you're doing something on your own, like tattooing, you know, you kind of go at the speed you want, and, you know, you get to do what you want. But I decided to leave the band after basically just a bunch of disagreements, and I found out my son was going to be born, so I was ready to just kind of step up to the plate and be a good dad. And, you know, as serious as I took playing in a band, and I think being a musician is very serious, for me it was always a hobby. It was something I really enjoyed doing, but I think as soon as it got real serious and too business minded, that's when I started losing interest. Like I said before, I never, you know, as I got older, the idea of, you know, being well known or like being, you know, popular just didn't matter to me, you know. So I think that's why I started losing interest in being in a band altogether, man. It's hard to have a girlfriend or basically anything with a solid foundation when you're touring or, like, you know, playing in a band and being around those kind of things. But I have mad props to anyone that could make that work. Well, it's funny, man. For the longest time, I think wealth and fame were two things that I sought. I don't know why. I just, you know, was like, I guess maybe because you know, growing up, my family, no one really did anything that crazy, you know, and I always felt like everyone kind of missed out on certain opportunities, and I always told myself, man, I never want to be that guy that missed out on something because I let something hold me back, you know. But man, as I'm getting older and, like, you know, I'll have a long day of tattooing and it'll go great, and then I'll come home and see my kids, they run up and they're all stoked to see me. I'm like, man, this is where it's at, you know. As grateful as I am for tattooing and to have a job and things like that, I think realistically, in, you know, 10, 20 years from now, I would like to have just a good shop. I don't care how well known it is. I would just want it to have a reputation where people know, like, if you want a quality traditional tattoo, this is the place to go, and that you won't be disappointed no matter who tattoos you. I'm really happy with the staff I have right now, so I'd like to keep those guys and hopefully grow, you know, get some more guys, and hopefully be able to vacation, you know. I'd like to get a shop running well enough to where, you know, I could take a weekend off or take a few days here and there to just spend time with my family. But I mean, realistically right now, it's just You know, if I'm not tattooing, I'm either hanging out with my kids or going to church. And, you know, we try to take family trips a lot, so that's definitely important to me down the road, you know. And luckily, tattooing has been paying the bills, so I think if I just keep at it and keep pushing forward, then that can definitely be a reality, man.
Today is not your day.
Dude, you didn't even get a tan, bro? Rude.
How do you get 10 in the office 24/7?
You didn't go to the booth, dude? Come on.
Where you work.
Do you want me to be tattooing while I'm talking?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
Is that, I mean, if you can't
No,
the whole time.
no, I just think it'll be funny because it's like, yeah, so, you know. Cool. I'm cool with that, though.